You have to start somewhere, right? It's almost standard that karting is the start for professional drivers. In the little go-kart-like cars, you learn the basics of racing. The younger you start, the better. Max Verstappen, for example, started karting at just 4 or 5 years old. So that's around the time that it's actually physically possible for the first time. Then, through the regional, national and eventually international karting championships, you can try to climb up through the ladder. This depends largely on your talent, but of course on the material that you race with. That costs a lot of money, just like all the travelling. You can take care of all of that yourself in karting, but an estimate of the cost for the karting period of your racing career is around €1 million. I know, take a deep breath, it's a lot. Well, if you've managed to put yourself in the spotlight in karting, you can then take it a step higher. You might either enter one of the racing car classes or a single-seater. Take Formula Renault for example. Many of today's Formula 1 drivers have taken that as their next step. The cost for that is €350,000 per season. You might even need 2 seasons, but if you've managed to excel at it, your next stop is one of the various Formula 3 classes. According to Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff, it's advisable to complete 2 seasons in that class. Total costs for 2 years of Formula 3 is around the €1.3 million mark. Congratulations, you've now succeeded in Formula 3. You're getting close to reaching your goal. The next stop is Formula 2. Now it's really getting serious. Travelling with Formula 1 and racing in cars that are already very close to the real thing, in terms of costs, that certainly applies as well, because a year in Formula 2 will cost you around 1.5 to €2 million. Assuming that you immediately deliver great work in your first year of Formula 2 and you see an opening in a Formula 1 team, well then grab your wallet again. According to Toto Wolff, teams often charge around €2 to €3 million if you want to get a seat, provided that they are interested of course. If we add up all of this, we end up with an amount of around €8 million to enter Formula 1. Naturally, this is a very broad estimate. The pace of your career has a lot of influence on it, as well as the material that you've raced with and the team choices that you've made along the journey. You're probably wondering, how do others do that? They must have had no money to spend for years, and yes, that sounds about right. If all of this has to come out of your own pocket, you have to be blessed with a very wealthy family or to have won the lottery. The latter is actually an advantage nowadays. If you've come from a somewhat more modest environment and you've had less to spare, you'll rely more mainly on sponsors. Of course, the rich drivers do that too, after all, everything makes a difference. But the less well-off drivers are almost entirely dependent on this. Your career can also take a turn if you are scouted by one of the junior programs. Red Bulls, for example, they invest a lot of money in boys and girls who show a lot of potential. That can save you quite a lot of money. Anyway, in that case, you must really have what it takes. Ultimately, you must be able to drive the car properly.